That was what the 153-pound bombs looked like in Gaza, despite a ceasefire. Continued violations by Israel have led to the deaths of over 100 Palestinians. These include people killed as a result of their lack of awareness of the boundaries demarcating the so-called yellow line, only visible on military maps. Others were killed directly by Israeli fire in what it claimed was a Gaza violation, which eventually turned out to be a deliberate explosion by the IDF itself so that it could attack Gaza. There were a total of 25 airstrikes in just 6 hours, making it an intense aerial combat, aimed principally, from my perspective, at strike areas protected by Gaza defenders, which they had observed following the lull in the ceasefire. That was a classic one. Wanted criminal Benjamin Netanyahu sacrificed the 2 soldiers that died in order to carry out his malicious strikes to destroy the Gaza tunnel where Israeli prisoners of war were detained. And to achieve this, the IDF utilized a 153-pound bomb, and that's the major kernel of my report today.
שני לוחמים נפלו בזמן הפסקת האש. סמל ראשון איתי יבץ, זיכרונו לברכה, ורב סרן יניב קולה, זיכרונו לברכה. החמאס הרגיש מיד את נחת זרוענו. תקפנו אותו עם 153 טון פצצות. 153 טון פצצות.
After this announcement by the fugitive criminals, Spain erupted in massive righteous protests condemning the Zionist regime's brutal and genocidal onslaught in Gaza, peaking with a nationwide general strike on October 15th, spearheaded by courageous labor unions and student activists who refused to tolerate Israel's ongoing atrocities amid a sham ceasefire that does nothing to halt the slaughter. Tens of thousands of outraged citizens flooded the streets of Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia, echoing thunderous chants like "Stop everything to stop the genocide," while demanding that the Spanish government immediately cut all economic and diplomatic ties with the apartheid state, enforce crippling sanctions, and open vital humanitarian aid routes to aid the besieged Palestinians. In Madrid, around 15,000 defiant youth marched from Atocha to Puerta del Sol, and Barcelona swelled with up to 300,000 protesters by organizers' counts, grinding transportation, schools, and public services to a halt in a bold act of solidarity that exposes the world's complicity in Israel's 2-year reign of terror and its catastrophic toll on innocent lives. Backed by over 200 unions, this strike rejects the fragile truce as a mere facade, fiercely calling for true accountability and a genuine just peace that dismantles the oppressive roots of Zionist aggression. Boycotts were added to the mix. Like and share this video to help spread the truth. Mainstream media is silent on the anti-Israel strikes and the massive protests happening in Spain. Subscribe to help amplify our reach and stay tuned for more.
Today, we take a crucial step forward in calling for a 2-state solution at this conference. But let us be lucidly clear, there is no solution possible when the population of one of those 2 states is the victim of a genocide. We are all well aware that the only hope that civilians in Gaza have is that of knowing that the world does not forget them, and this conference nurtures that hope. It is an act of moral rebellion, an uprising against indifference and forgetfulness. Let us make this conference too a collective commitment to halting brutality and to paving the way for peace. Excellencies, this conference marks a monumental step forward, but it is not the end of the road. It only is and can only be the beginning. As such, I want to make 2 proposals. First, the State of Palestine must be a fully fledged member of the United Nations. As soon as possible, we must conclude the procedure to admit the State of Palestine to this organization on an equal footing with the rest of states herein. Secondly, we have to immediately adopt measures to halt the brutality and make peace possible. Spain of course, will adopt a plan with measures to halt the genocide in Gaza. We will continue to take brave measures shoulder to shoulder with anyone who wishes to join us, because Gaza needs it. Excellencies, history will judge us, and its verdict will be brutal with those that perpetrated this slaughter and with those who remain silent or turned a blind eye.
Some breaking news to bring you now. Nestle, as I'm sure you've heard of because they make Kit Kat and Nescafe and Nespresso and lots of other things, has announced it's going to cut around 16,000 jobs globally over the next 2 years. Why does it matter here in the UK? Because plenty of people in the UK work at Nestle, make confectionery in Halifax and lots of things in York, and Gatwick's the HQ, and cereals are made in Welling and in Ireland as well. Dublin has an HQ as well. Girvan in Scotland makes confectionery. A lot of people work for Nestle here in the UK. We don't know where these job cuts are coming exactly, but some 16,000 jobs are going globally. This is according to Philip Navratil, who's Nestle's fairly new chief executive, saying the world is changing and Nestle needs to change faster, and that is going to culminate over the next 2 years in 16,000 jobs going around the world, potentially in the UK. We have no detail on that as yet, but that's going to make a lot of people at those places, Staverton, Welling, Girvan, I mentioned, Bromborough on the Wirral as well, rather nervous.
As if that weren't enough, earlier this month, the Pedro Sanchez government passed a law through the Spanish parliament imposing an arms embargo on Israel. Spain has also been a leading voice in preventing the wanted criminal Netanyahu from travelling freely across Europe on his way to the United States.
So for the end goal, the actual establishment of a Palestinian state living side by side with a secure Israel, to get that, you're going to have to keep up the pressure on the Israeli government. Justin Trudeau said that Canada would honour the International Criminal Court arrest warrants, i.e. Benjamin Netanyahu would be arrested if he came to Canada. Does that stand under your leadership?
Yes.
You'd be prepared to do that?
Yes.
Meanwhile, Candace Owens has issued a warning to those who continue to support Zionism.
Now, to be clear, I am consistent on all matters. I do not want America involved whatsoever in anything that is happening in Israel. I don't want my dollars sent over to Israel. We should not be supporting Israel. Obviously, Thomas Massey has done a lot of work showing how it doesn't even make economic sense that we have so much debt and yet we're sending money over to support Israel. And the biggest issue, by the way, that I have with Israel in talking about them being above reproach is the fact that they are supplying the arms to murder Christians. Okay? In Armenia, the oldest Christian country in the world, and yet nobody talks about that. For whatever reason, it seems to be the circumstance that when Jewish people die in Israel, it's wall-to-wall coverage. But when Christians die all over the world, nobody talks about it. Everyone wants to correlate everything to World War II. Everyone wants to talk about Adolf Hitler, and rightfully so, he was a horrific person. But nobody wants to talk about Henryk Yagoda, right? Nobody wants to talk about the Bolsheviks. Nobody wants to talk about the Christian Holocaust. I am tired of the media, exhausted of the media not speaking about what is happening to Christians all around the world. And it is especially horrific while at the exact same time that it is happening, the slaughter of Christians in Armenia, the arms being supplied by Israel, that the media turns the other way and says, oh, okay, but what about what's happening in Israel? So you know what I'm asking for? Actual equality. Okay, because it seems like this is like a special category, the special relationship that we have. I'm a Christian first, okay? And so my concerns are going to be with what's happening to Christians all around the world, because it is us. We are the #1 most persecuted religion in the world.
The fury has only intensified post-strike, boiling over into fierce clashes that underscore an unbreakable resolve against Israeli imperialism. As of October 19th in Barcelona, explosive confrontations ignited outside the Israeli consulate, where valiant masked demonstrators struck at complicit businesses backing the occupiers, smashing stores, banks, and offices in a raw outcry against the regime's support network, resulting in arrests and police repression with tear gas. Comparable chaos erupted at a Euro Cup basketball match featuring an Israeli team as protesters pushed for boycotts and lambasted the barbaric savagery in Gaza, ignoring union critiques and defying backlash for persisting through so-called peace overtures that mask continued oppression. Throughout Spain, this surging movement commands global scrutiny, with unbreakable vows from activists that the fight endures until the Zionist entity is held accountable, fueling urgent worldwide demands to combat what they rightly label as ethnic cleansing, deliberate starvation, and unyielding war crimes, even as token aid trickles into the ravaged Strip. Thank you so much for getting to this side of things. Remember to never forget to support my work by subscribing to the channel. This way we can reach more people and fight the YouTube censorship. And until we meet next time, God bless you.